And I tell you, I have had the privilege of meeting these fine Americans who put this all together. And they are great people, each and every one of them. Our next speaker is certainly no exception to that. Mr. Frank Morris is the president of the Black American Leadership Alliance. He's the former director of the Congressional Black Caucus Foundation, and he's also former dean of graduate studies at Morgan State University. Please, warm welcome for Mr. Frank Morris.
Hello, everybody. It's hot, so I won't be very long. I just really, my wise grandfather told me, if you're going to talk, say two things that people might remember. And my two things are two questions which I want to address that I hope you will remember. The first question is, why is there a devaluation of American citizenship? And second, why do we not talk about the real racism and immigration policy? So let me talk about those two simple principles. Why? Why the interests of illegal workers who've had the benefit of non-enforcement of American laws to protect American workers and the benefit of non-deportation and the benefit of staying in this country, violating many other laws, whether they're driver's licenses or paying taxes, why do they get the priority from the Congress over the interests of American workers? 7 million of these illegal workers hold American jobs, while 22 million Americans are looking for work and stop looking for work because they can't find jobs or unemployed. The official unemployment rate is 12 to 13 million. Why would the non-citizens who've benefited have the preference over our own citizens? And I want to talk about a particular subgroup of those citizens in terms of African American workers, where this is absolutely devastating. But let's look at the first question. It involves an evaluation of American citizenship. You know, it's really sad that the only time when we really have jobs for Americans is when we're approaching full employment. That's the time when we should have an immigration policy that supplements, not displaces Americans for jobs. Many Americans have to train in the H-1B visas. Now, I said that immigrants are privileged, and they are privileged. In 2000, as I testified for crime, in 2008 and 2010, when 5 million American workers lost jobs during the Great Recession, more than 2 million illegal workers, or immigrant workers, it was legal and illegal, got jobs. Now, if that isn't a privileged situation, it's hard to figure out really what is. Now, citizens, American citizens who violate the law go to jail. And as an African American, we have almost more than 1 million African Americans in jails, often due to differential enforcement of drug laws. As when I spoke to my alma mater at Colgate University, my 50th year there, if they enforce laws of the Colgate campus like they did down on 14th and U, or in inner city Dallas, or in 125th Street, a lot of those guys would be in jail too. But it's not that. If there was going to be any amnesty, why give it to the privileged ones who are already privileged by benefit of our laws, instead of nonviolent drug offenders for which our taxes are used to have to pay? I mean, let's recognize that American citizenship should have some value. Now, the second question addresses the racism. The charge of anybody who opposes illegal immigration is alleged racism. As an African American and a veteran of the civil rights, this really gets my dander off, because this analogy is false in the most obvious reasons. First, to compare the civil rights struggle, where American citizens were fighting and challenging the constitutionality of laws legally, and often at personal risk of life, sometimes being lynched and other things for challenging law and taking the consequences. This is considered as equivalent to non-citizens going into another country, demanding rights they do not have, and demanding that laws that were supposed to protect American citizens not be enforced. You say that's equal? Second, the analogy implies that it's an equivalent, that American citizens or African Americans are equivalent to non-citizens who have the benefit of not having our laws enforced. For many years, for many, many years, African Americans were told, hey, the difference between our unemployment rate and the larger unemployment rate was because of two reasons. African Americans, we didn't speak the King's English right. We used Ebonics, we didn't speak the King's English right. That was one reason. The second reason is because we had less education. That was supposed to. Now you have non-citizen workers, many of whom averaging in some of the sending countries from Central and South America, less than a junior high school education, who get jobs without even being able to speak English. What kind of analogy is that? Third, African Americans, we were struggling for rights in our own country as citizens. We did not have another country who would provide cover for us, who would provide identification numbers for us that could help us to get advantages in another country, as we see what's happening, at least in the case of Mexico here. And we were not privileged. 40% of the illegal aliens, and that's another bias, the press does not call them illegal aliens. They're able to control that. 40% of them are not from Central America. They come from everywhere else. They're privileged by violating our student, our business, our tourist visas. Now, to say that they have no choice and to try to pull the heartstrings by saying that these are folks who do not have advantages when our American unemployment is so great is absolutely outrageous. Yet, let's really talk about the real racism, because the real racism on African American involves this whole issue of giving the priority for non-citizens. The National Science Foundation and all the studies have shown clearly that the most disadvantaged workers are those who have less than a high school education and who are often poor. Okay? Let me just talk about one particular subgroup, because young black males are often in the news. But it's not just young men. This immigration bill destroys the opportunities for all young people, for all of their ages. Andrew Sim of Northeastern University, the most acknowledged expert on teen unemployment, said that any young person who's out of a job for 6 months will have a negative impact for the next decade, okay? The next decade, And if we look at this particular category, I just want you to remember this category, because we've had a lot of concern, allegedly, about young black males. Young black males, high school or less than a high school education. You know what their employment rate is who's seeking jobs? I heard someone said 50%. No. 5% are able to get jobs. 5%. Now, my MIT PhD tells me that that's not a 50% unemployment. Guys, for African American males and teens, males and females, it's 15%. That's not a 50% unemployment rate. There is simply no concern. This is the racism that non-citizens who have violated and benefited from the violation of our laws are having a new bill that Congress is proposing for them that give them more benefits, while our own citizens are tragically suffering more. As I said before, never have so many, owed so much as so few. They're not here. The young blacks, the young workers of all ages are not here to fight for themselves. You and I are. God bless you.